Today is the 28th of August 2020. I'm here on Bessie Creek Road. I'm going to try to get to Red Blanket Falls as well as Stuart Falls today. I have attempted to go to those waterfalls in the past, and I took an approach off of Red Blanket Road itself to a trailhead, but the last 15 years or so that trail has really degraded down to almost nothing because of a series of washouts and fires that inundated the area. So I'm going to try a different approach and see if I get to the falls this way. Before we get started on the trail, I took this spur road to the base of Bessie Rock. I haven't been on this road in about 9 years, and this thing has really fallen apart. I used to be able to drive up this a lot more easily, but now it's overgrown and a lot of rocks and erosion. Bessie Rock is that towering formation there. So I came out of the woods, and this whole area has been hit pretty hard by fire. Alright, so here we are at the end of the road. Quite a big burn through here. But the nice thing is that there's a lot of baby trees popping up. Just hillside's just inundated with them, so that's good to see. This will probably all come back here maybe in 50 or so years. Through the trees there you can see Union Peak. It's right across the valley there. It's pretty spectacular from this angle. So from the parking area, this big fallen tree is right here. And as you can see, there goes a trail that meanders through all the saplings. I've been about a little over a mile in, and it's been a mix of burns like this and then absolute scalding burns where everything is just completely incinerated and the ground is nothing but sand. Here it's not so intense, but it's still pretty bad. Every single tree around is dead. Alright, so I managed to find the trail again. But as you can see, nobody has trekked down this except for a couple of deer. It's pretty much been left forgotten. Yeah, you're pretty tired, huh? Going on 13 years old in October. Well, I'm out of the singe for a little bit, and sure enough, this is a spring-fed little creek. Kind of a nice little oasis from all the burn. A little muddy because I threw him in for a splash. That probably feels really good. Because he's definitely not coming out, that's for sure. Alright. It looks like we are coming out of the burn, finally. There's a view of it behind us. Of course, with everything burning, kind of opened up the trail better. Here you could see a lot of fallen snags. Well, it was just a little island of trees. I'm back in a very burned area, and it goes for a couple miles at least. You can barely see, I think that's goose nest. Goose nest or goose egg. There's a mountain just east of there. Bald Top and then Union Peak over there. I keep seeing these little holes here, which I stuck a little pine needle in, and I believe they are antlion traps. Antlions, like this little scorpion looking bug, at least in the larva phase, and then they morph into flying insect that looks kind of like a miniature dragonfly, damselfly. Let's see if I could get some activity here. Oh, I don't know if you saw it, but There was some kicking action. Ooh. I felt a pair of pinchers grab the stick. Basically, an ant will climb down into this hole. Oh, he's pulling. And the antlion traps him, grabs him with the claw. Oh, there we go. Ooh, I don't know if I can get him though. He's gonna bury himself back in. Basically has these poison stingers, kills the ant, and then just sucks him into the ground like that. They have these strong back legs, which they just bury themselves right back in. I wonder if I can get like a pair. They're pretty harmless. You get one sitting on your hand, they won't do anything to you. Here we go. God, he's trying to bury himself in. This right here there we go. That right there is an antlion. Managed to pull him out of his hole. Almost looks like some sort of ancient bug in the fossil record, like a trilobite. And then you can see his pinchers there. This guy is probably about half a centimeter in length. But it injects poison into any critter that falls into the hole or climbs down into it. And they are good at feeling when an ant or another insect comes down. They'll start kicking the sides, the walls of their hole to try and trip up the ant so it falls back down in, and then they come out and grab them, sting them, and then suck them into the sand, and the ant or whatever insect is history. Alright, let's put them right there. And they always walk backwards because that's how they dig. Alright, you know what? There's another antlion hole over here. I'm going to stick this guy in that hole and see if the antlion in that hole goes after this guy. In. Oh, there goes the other antlion. You can see it making some kicking noise. Oops. Alright, there's another antlion hole right there. I was trying to put that antlion I caught into another antlion hole to see if he would get attacked, but I didn't really see too much action. I saw some kicking of the sand, but that was about it. And unfortunately, there's not really any ants around here, which is kind of surprising. I guess there's nothing really to feed on out here. Alright, followed kind of a much more visible trail. Did a little bit of bushwhacking through the burn, and I'm coming up to a fairly big creek here. I shouldn't be too far away from Red Blanket Falls. At a trail junction, Red Blanket Trailhead 3 miles that way. It's almost impossible to get to. And I think there's a lower one too. There goes the upper tier again, the middle tier, and then there's an even lower falls right in there. Big cliff. Come on, Canadle. Come on. So this is the lower tier of the Red Blanket Falls. A nice slide down the cliff. Good boy. Last look at Red Blanket Falls. This is the top tier. Now we're on the trail headed to Stuart Falls. This one I can barely make out as well. It's just fallen into disrepair. Fire came through here as well. Definitely burned pretty much all the trees around. And there's a big giant bone right here. So here we are at Stuart Camp. Nice little campsite. Most of the trees around are dead. And then right here is a view of Stuart Falls. Not really flowing a lot, but there is still some water coming down. Nice little cascade. Alright, so I'm crossing Red Blanket Creek again. I've come down from Stuart Falls. My GPS ran out of battery, so I'm just gonna rely visually on how to get back. I still remember most of the way, and if not, I think he can detect some of the scent back. Got some big paw prints here. I'm following my old path back. I managed to find it, but I'll probably lose it again here shortly. It's just very still. Here in the burn, there's almost absolutely nothing living, even after 2 years. Most of these look like lodgepole, so they'll probably come back after all they need fire to germinate. Almost back to the car now. I saw the trail every now and again, but this last mile or so I lost it. Turns out I was above it, which I wanted to be. I didn't want to be below it. Otherwise I'd be in lower elevation. But I'm really close to the car now. Here back where all the saplings are growing. About 0.15 miles and I'll be back. There we go. Back in the car. He seems kind of lost. You know, these last few hikes, he's kind of lost his scent. Easily more tired. Come here, Canadle. Come here. Oh, it's way cooler now. We're in the shade. It's nice over here now. Good boy. Union Peak again. Oh, had this all to myself. Although at Stuart Falls I was taking some photos, and there happened to be two backpackers who also stopped there and were kind of getting soaked a little bit in the water. So I didn't have this hike entirely alone, but most of it was.